Okay, hello my friend. Hopefully that you are doing great. So in this lesson, I want to share you how to customize the testing URL a little before we move forward for other lessons. So basically, in the real application, I mean in the real automation testing, so you will test in many different environments. For example, you have the QA environment, staging environment, and so on. So basically, this page URL will be changed, right? And this page will be remained. So what I want to do that I will try to create a utility class that we will return the testing URL when we input something like the login page or something like that. So the approach that I'm gonna share with you in this lesson is not the final ones because based on what we have now, I decided to create by that way. But when we learn about the Maven project, so we will have more things in our project, and definitely we will come back and try to adjust the logic inside the utility class that we gonna do. Okay. So now what I want to do that I will in this basic Selenium folder, that means our root location. What I want to do, I will create a new directory here with the name, maybe let me think, I will put the name as something like testing URL dot no, it should be no. I think it should be this folder will be resources for sorry. So this is a folder. So in the Maven project, we will have another way to create a resources folder, but now you just create a normal directory, okay? And now under this folder, you create a new file with the name testing urls.json, okay? Because it's a JSON, so what I want to do, I will do something like, so I have the home page here, and then inside that home page, I want to have what? I want to declare a URL, and that URLs will be have the root directory in the home page, and I will do the same for the login page. And the URL for the login page should be /login, right? So for example, I want to get the home page path and the login page path. I will just provide a parameter as login page or home page. That's it. That is what I want to do. So now in the source folder and in the utils package here, I want to create a new class with the name something like testing, maybe just URL. That's enough. So under this class, I want to create a static function, right? So I will create a static function, and after that, I want to return the value of the URL here. So what I want to do, I will return not only the URL, but the testing space as well. So I will return public string, public static string, the testing, maybe the current test URL. So I want to return the current test URL based on the environment. So what I want to do is I will use the Maven repository, and what I do, I will search for the JSON. So you see here we have JSON Databy, JSON core, JSON annotation, and we need to download 3 of them. Okay, so you need to download 3 of them here. So how to download? Because when we go to the Maven session, I will tell you how to manage dependency. But at the moment, just go here and then you select the latest version now to the 12.2 here, and you see the bundle here. So you just need to click and then you download. There's a warning about this file, so just skip to download. So you do the same thing for the Jackson scroll library and the Jackson annotation as well. After that, what you need to do is very simple, like you add another jar file before. So you click here and then you go to the file. You see the project structure here. So after that, you click on the modules here and then you just simple to add the jars or directories. So in this case, I already add Jackson Databy and Jackson Core and Jackson annotation here. So you do the same thing here. After that, you click on OK. So in this method, what I want to do that I will declare an object mapper from Jackson Databy. So it should be object mapper. So you see it comes from Jackson Databy here. So equal new object mapper. I will put everything in a try case because when you work with the file system in the machines, so you probably face some error. So I will put it in a try case and then I will catch just a 0 exception here. So when I catch some exception here, I will just throw a new runtime exception, something like error issue when reading the testing URL data JSON file, something like that. Okay. So in this try block, we still have some error here because we didn't return a string. So we will do it later. So in this try block, what I need to do, I will declare a file input stream, file input stream, and this file input stream will come from java.io here. So file input stream equal new file input stream, and in this case, I need to provide the testing URL JSON here. So how can I do it? So what I do, I will create a static string, status private status final private string JSON file equal, and for example, I will put the JSON file here. Okay, so this.json file here. So private, this is status, so private status string JSON file, and I want to put it as final as well. So private static final string JSON file, and what I want to do that I will get from the system, and then I will get the property user.current directory here. After that, I will concat with the resources folder, and then go to the testing URL.json here. So when I go to this location, that means I will open this one. Okay, so you can see the system get property user.dir here will return the current location of this project, this one, and then we will concat with the resources folder, and then we go to the testing URL.json here. So, and after that, we will provide for the file input stream. After that, I want to have an input stream reader to get this one. So input stream reader from Java input output again equal new input stream reader, and then I will provide the file input stream, and I want to tell that I want to read with the UTF-8 format here. And after that, I want to create a buffer reader to get the input stream reader. So buffer reader again, it's come from java.io again, equal new buffer reader, and then I will provide the input stream reader inside. So after I get the buffer reader here, so before I forget, I need to close after interacting with the file. So it's a best practice for you. If you open something like the input stream reader, buffer reader, after that, you need to close all of them, okay? So we need to close the buffer reader dot close, and then input stream reader dot close, and then the buffer reader dot close. So when we have a Maven project, the way we read down the data will be a little simpler. Okay, it will be more simple. But at this time, just try to do like this. Okay. And then after I get the buffer reader, what I want to do is I will declare a map of a string and an object. So you see here in the testing URL, so what I want to have that I have a map, and this is a key, and inside is the value, and in this case the value is a hash map, right? You have the key value again. So this is a string, and this is the key as string, and this value as a hash map inside. So I want to have a map from Java util, and the data type should be string, and another one should be hash map. So in this case, I will call this testing URL data, okay, equal object mapper here. Now I want to use Jackson object mapper Databy, and then what I want to do, I will read the value from the buffer reader, and I want to park it to hashmap dot class. That's it. So before I want to return this one, so let me see. So for example, I want to provide string. This should be the path. For example, I want to go to the path home page. So okay, let's declare at the page. Okay, test page, right? So for example, if you have test page as home page or login page, so I want to declare something like string final testing URL here, and then inside, after that, I will return the final testing URL here. So in here, what I want to do, I will assign the final testing URL. It should be equal to testing URL data, and then get the object at a keys, and in this case, I want to get the test page, right? And then I will get the test page as string. So probably I will have a hash map, right? So let me see. So in this case, I want to get the URL, right? Again, and then toString. So here we have the testing URL data after we get the test page. For example, I want to get the test page at home page. And after that, I will have the value at this hash map. And inside this hash map, I will get the key URL again. Then finally, I will get the path. But the thing here is this is not the final testing URL, it's just a path, right? So let me declare string testing, maybe the side path equal this one, right? And then finally, we have the final testing URL will be the side path. Then I want to concat with, no, not this one. So it will be the system.get environment, and what I want to have that I will have the testing URL and I will concat with the side path finally. So you may be curious that what is the system.get environment testing URL here. So here, if you open the run configuration here, you edit configuration. So in this case, if you put something like the testing, you can click here to open, then you click here. So the testing URL, so for example, I will put something like the internet hierarchy at here. This is the value. And then you need to delete the trailing slash here because we already have it in at the prefix of the URL, right? So here, if you click OK, and then you run it, when it runs, when we use the system get environment here, and we get the testing URL, we will guess the latest testing URL. So basically, when you run your test, for example, from a changing job or something like that, you can custom a parameter with the name testing URL, and your script will get the environment testing URL correctly. So in this case, we will use the testing URL, and then we concat with the side path here. After that, we return here. Okay. So I want to try this before using in the real test. So let's try to create a main method here, and what I want to do that I will go URL dot current test URLs, and I want to get the value from the login page, right? And then I want to print out the value. So what I want to do that I will try to run this one. So probably we will get true at the issue when reading. So something wrong here. Let's take a look again. Guest property user.year, and we have resources, and then we have testing URL.json. So let me see. Resources here. Is there any type of resources here? Okay, and then we have the testing URL.json. After that, we have something. Okay, let's try to print this one as well. E.print stock trace to see what's going on. So what we have, that's a null pointer exception. in the line 26 here. Okay, I got it. Because we didn't set the testing URL here. This one. Okay, and then we run again. So you see, this time, okay, because I forgot to delete the trailing slash here. Okay, so this time if I run again, you see, we can guess the value, the whole value. So when you run it, you try to edit the configuration here. You can select the class here, and then what you want to put inside, you will create an environment variable here. So if you have more environment in your test, you can add here. And then finally, you can guess from the system.get environment here easily. So it's worked now. So what I want to do, I will use in a real test script. So let's open the test package here, and we open the test command here. So I will do something like URL dot current test URL for the login page, right? And then what I do, I will provide for driver.get here. So I will try to edit the configuration again. I will select the test command component here, and inside I will put the testing URL here, click OK, and then I run it. So the browser is now launching, and you can see that we could successfully open the target URL successfully here. So this is the way we create a utility class with a utility method inside to return our testing URL. And from now on, we just put the testing URL inside this JSON file, and then we can call in our test script. So you need to practice again here. It's not hard here, but let me try to tell you again. This is not the final way at the end for us in this tutorial, but at the moment, this is the suitable way for us to construct and retain the testing URL from a JSON file. When we go to the Maven project session, we will try to come back here and then try to customize a little more. And what you see here, we can still put some string here, and we will try to customize, like putting an enum value here to avoid any typo or something like that. So we will talk about that later. But at least now we have a utility class and a utility method here, and it can return for you exactly the testing URL based on the testing environment. So basically, when we have a changing job and then you select the testing URL based on the environment, so it will return exactly for you. So you don't need to care about that anymore. So try to practice yourself, and see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.